Chapter 21 Ambush in the Middle of the Night. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Herod. The war horses neighed. The caravan didn't go far when it was stopped by a group of people. The escort and the team was about to step forward to question, but was stopped by the escort on the side. I don't want to live anymore. That's Miss Nan. Nan's family is a common surname in Luocheng, the lord of the city, one of the 3 bodyguards of the Hengshan Chamber of Commerce. All have the surname Nan, but there is only one person in Luo City who can be called Miss Nan, and that is Nan Lingxue, the daughter of the city lord. Nan Lingxue, who had changed into a white armor, was a little less charming, but a little more heroic. Brother Han, you want to leave Luo City, why don't you tell your sister? Nan Lingxue rode the war horse and shouted loudly. The curtain of the most luxurious carriage opened, revealing Han Yang's slightly helpless face. Nan Lingxue chuckled. My father said that you helped him a lot this time, and you are going to Yuanmen. As a city lord, he cannot fail to express his feelings. Before he finished speaking, Nan Lingxue flicked his hand and a letter was shot towards the carriage like a sharp blade. Boom. The letter on craft paper was actually embedded in the wooden door of the carriage. Han Yang's eyelids twitched. This delicate eldest lady has a better grasp of strength than the average 4th-level bone-forging person. Brother Han, my father said that when I turn 18 next year, I will also go to Yuanmen to learn martial arts. By then, you will be the senior brother, and you have to take care of me. Nan Lingxue blushed and left a few words, then rode away with her whip raised. It was obvious that the last words could not have been said by the majestic city lord. It must have been this little girl who was pretending to pass on the imperial edict. Looking at Nan Lingxue's back, Han Yang smiled and took off the letter on the car door. The 3 elders of the Yuanmen Chuanfa Hall personally consecrated it. On the envelope, there are 10 big characters in flying colors. Obviously, the city lord was looking for a helper for Han Yang within Yuanmen. This city lord is grateful to repay his kindness. It was worth noting that before Han Yang left, he eliminated the guarding General Yi Bufan for him. Dad, since you are here, why don't you meet Brother Han? Nan Lingxue rode her horse to a hillside. Nan Jiang, the lord of Luo City, smiled and said, Little girl, what do you know? He got rid of Yi Bufan for me, so I naturally have to avoid suspicion, otherwise it will not be good for him or me. Nan Lingxue didn't understand this, so she said oh and stopped thinking about it, but said with a little excitement, Brother Han is so powerful. He even killed Yi Bufan, who is at the 6th level of bone forging. Let's go here. Yuanmen will definitely become famous all over the world and be powerful in the 9 cities. Nan Jiang rarely corrected his daughter's thoughts. Instead, he nodded and said, It may be early to become famous all over the world, but it may only take 2 or 3 years to become powerful in the 9 cities. 18 years old, 1 level of bone training. This level of cultivation is considered a young talent in Luo City, but if placed in the 9 cities under the jurisdiction of Yuanmen, it can barely be regarded as average. But Han Yang, with the 1st level of bone forging and the 6th level of counterattack bone forging, mastered the fist intention in advance. This talent is second to none in the entire Yuanmen. Perhaps within 2 or 3 years, Han Yang would be able to become famous in Yuanmen and achieve some success. In the small city of Luo City, Qin Yu and Han Yang were born, 2 peerless geniuses, who were also unusual. Oh, I don't know where Xianxia went. Now that Brother Han is gone, Luo City has become so boring. In a girl's mind, happiness comes quickly and depression comes quickly. At this moment, Nan Lingxue had already begun to feel melancholy. Although Nan Jiang was deep in thought, he was also amused by his daughter's coquettish words and laughed endlessly. My dear girl, you will also go to Yuanmen next year to show those guys in Yuanmen that in Luo City, we not only have Han Yang, but also Nan Lingxue. That's right. I'm a genius. The figures of father and daughter cuddled together, watching Han Yang's motorcade drifting away. After experiencing the incident of the city lord's daughter delivering a letter, the Chamber of Commerce's fleet was noticeably quieter. Those small businessmen who didn't know the truth no longer dared to talk about Han Yang in private. They are really not someone they can offend by bothering the city lord's daughter to see him off. Han Yang was also happy to enjoy the long-lost silence. The setting sun dyes the sunset red, and the sky is getting late. The caravan has already left Luo City for nearly 100 miles. Mr. Han, the team is going to camp here to rest. Do you think it's okay? Nan Xiaofeng, one of the 3 bodyguards of the Hengshan Chamber of Commerce, respectfully asked Han Yang for instructions like a slave. During the battle in Luocheng, Han Yang shattered the courage of the Hengshan Chamber of Commerce. Even if Han Yang killed the young master of the Hengshan Chamber of Commerce, the Chamber of Commerce's bodyguards and assassins would not dare to neglect him in the slightest. Even where the caravan should rest, Han Yang had to be consulted. Just arrange it. Han Yang waved his hand casually. Nan Xiaofeng bowed respectfully, and then directed the caravan to start unloading the trucks and setting up camp. Soon, a chef from the caravan prepared a sumptuous banquet for Han Yang to enjoy. Even if the president of the Chamber of Commerce arrives at the caravan, this is the treatment he receives. The food is average, but the wine is pretty good. In the 9th reincarnation, Han Yang had never tasted any delicacies, so the food prepared by the so-called chef of the caravan could only be barely swallowed. An hour passed, and the Chamber of Commerce gradually became quiet. People who had been traveling all day had already fallen asleep. Han Yang, who was on the carriage, suddenly opened his eyes. Something's wrong. The monster forest at night is really too quiet. Every night, there should be various beasts roaring, but now, there is an eerie silence. Han Yang stood up, quietly left the carriage, and dived into the night, on a hillside several hundred feet away from the caravan's temporary camp. Did you find out clearly? Is that person really in the caravan? That a woman in mysterious clothes looked indifferently at the caravan down the hillside. An old man on the side saluted respectfully and said, "The person we installed at the Hengshan Chamber of Commerce sent word that that person is in the team." Hearing this, a cold look flashed across the woman's face. You ruined the Master Messenger's plan and dared to enter the monster forest. You are really seeking death. Act as planned. Tonight, I will destroy the Hengshan Chamber of Commerce. As you command. The old man followed the order with a gloomy face. Zhang Taicheng, those losers, were actually killed by a little guy with the 1st level of bone forging. It's really a waste of the messenger's plan. It turned out that this woman was the one who hired Zhang Tieshuan's team to hunt the Iron Flame Beast. The night in the monster forest seems to have become quieter because of the old man's departure. I don't know how long it took, but a dense rustling sound came from the depths of the monster forest. No, it's a tide of beasts. Standing on the canopy of the tree, Han Yang noticed countless beast pupils in the darkness and finally realized something was wrong. Only on the eve of the beast tide, the forest would be so quiet. Now, the beast tide is about to break out. Once these monsters rush over, not only the caravan will suffer, but the entire Luo city may also be captured. Every time a beast tide breaks out, it is a catastrophe for the people of 9 cities. Chapter 22, One Person and One Sword to Stop the Tide of Beasts. You are listening at MaleProtagonist. Just when Han Yang was about to evacuate from the tree, a voice sounded from not far away. Mr. Han, is this, a beast tide? That it was Nan Xiaofeng's voice. However, at this time, the voice of this 5th level bodyguard master was obviously trembling. Even with the 5th level of bone forging, facing thousands or even tens of thousands of 1st level monsters, there is only one way to die. You are alert. Han Yang glanced at Nan Xiaofeng. As expected of a great escort traveling among the 9 cities, the noise caused by the beast tide was actually not concealed from him. Nan Xiaofeng didn't have any proud expression. He gritted his teeth and said, "Mr. Han, let's retreat. With the strength of the 2 of us, we can definitely fight through the monsters and escape." That the bodyguard of the Hengshan Chamber of Commerce actually planned to abandon the caravan and flee alone in the face of the beast tide that might sweep the entire caravan. Ouch! The beasts that were moving silently suddenly let out a roar. Nan Xiaofeng's face changed drastically. No. The caravan has been discovered. Mr. Han, if you don't leave, it will be too late. Han Yang glanced at the gold and jade-encrusted sword scabbard on Nan Xiaofeng's waist and said, "Your sword is good, it belongs to me." You want to save the caravan? Nan Xiaofeng immediately realized what Han Yang was going to do and couldn't help but exclaimed, "Crazy," which is no different from seeking death. Even if Han Yang is a genius who can defeat the 6th level of bone forging, he will definitely die if he falls into the beast tide. Save the caravan? I'm not very interested. Han Yang had only indifference on his face. and what he said made Nan Xiaofeng ashamed, but after the caravan, there is Luo City, that once the beast tide goes to Luo City, even if Luo City is well defended and has a large number of experts, the people outside the city will be devastated. After all, this is the city where I have lived for 3 years, and many memories remain. More importantly, Han Yang didn't want to wait for Chen Xiaoqian to come back and not be able to eat Fong Lao woman's soy milk at the entrance of the alley, or the sugar cakes from Zhang's house outside the city. Crazy, you are really crazy. Nan Xiaofeng pulled away and wanted to leave. He didn't want to follow Han Yang's nonsense. The moment he moved, a white light suddenly lit up on Han Yang's palm. Cloud Explorer. The sword on Nan Xiaofeng's waist instantly fell into Han Yang's hands. Zhanglang. The knife was unsheathed, casting a cold light in the night. What a great sword! At least it's a Xian-level treasure. Han Yang did not expect that in the hands of an escort like Nan Xiaofeng, he would actually have a treasure of this level. Ah, my Tian-Ke! Nan Xiaofeng screamed as if someone had taken away his wife. This is the treasure he bought after 30 years of working as a bodyguard, and he invested all his money in it. Half of his fortune is on this knife. At this moment, he even had the urge to fight Han Yang. Ha ha ha, today, I will borrow your Tian-Ke sword to slay the monsters in Paolo City. Han Yang let out a long roar, jumped down from the tree, and rushed into the group of monsters. The first-order demon wolf roaring up to the sky only saw a shrill light of the sword in its eyes, and its head flew high into the air. Ouch! The densely packed monster beasts with no visible edges were instantly angered by Han Yang and rushed over with roars. Hundreds of monster beasts rushed over, and the shaking ground began to tremble. Soon, the entire camp was awakened and became a mess. So many monsters are just perfect for engraving the 4-image curse seal. Han Yang jumped up and hit the herd of beasts like a meteor. The light of his sword lit up, and the wails of monster beasts were everywhere he passed. The 4 symbols cursed seal sword, as one of the pinnacle martial arts that Han Yang mastered after his rebirth in the 9th generation, is naturally not as simple as ordinary sword skills. As he continued to kill, streaks of blood appeared on the Tian-Ke sword. It's all the blood of monsters. Han Yang was using the essence and blood of monster beasts to draw a mysterious pattern, and it turned out to be a white tiger. The white tiger is the god of war and killing. It coincided with Han Yang's state of mind at this time. The strongest protection is killing. With the continuous killing, the white tiger pattern on the Tian-Ke blade gradually took shape, and the white light emitted gradually became brighter. At this moment, 4 first-level monsters roared and swooped in. The sharp claws are more terrifying than the blade. A first-level monster is equivalent to a first-level or second-level bone-forging warrior, and its strength is also quite terrifying. 4 demonic beasts came to kill them. Even a 5th-level bone-forging master like Nan Xiaofeng had to deal with them with caution, but Han Yang just turned the blade. A line of blood appeared between the necks of the 4 monster beasts. The monster beast, which was comparable to a bone-forging warrior, was killed instantly. Nan Xiaofeng was dazzled by the simple and unpretentious sword skills from a distance. He has been using knives for half his life, and now he realizes that knives can still be used in this way. This Han Yang is really terrifying. After practicing his boxing skills to the point where he has mastered his fist intention, his sword skills are also so powerful. But, the beast tide is just the beginning. How long can we hold it back? It seemed to confirm Nan Xiaofeng's thoughts. After the 4 monsters were killed, more monsters behind were inspired by the blood gas. There was a large group of them, roaring ferociously, and swooping over. Seeing that Han Yang was about to be surrounded by monsters and unable to escape, his body shape suddenly changed, and he passed by those monsters like flowing water. Puff. Blood sprayed everywhere. 5 of the monsters were killed with 1 sword. Han Yang, whose white clothes were stained with blood, looked like a demon, killing wantonly among the monsters. 10. 50. 100. Soon, Han Yang's feet were covered with the corpses of monsters. Han Yang, who was alone, was like an iron cable blocking the river. No matter how the beasts attacked, he remained unstoppable and unstoppable. There are no fancy sword skills, just extremely simple chopping, but every move, took away the lives of several first-level monsters. This is a miracle. Nan Xiaofeng has been in the 9 cities for 30 years and has never seen anyone with the first level of bone forging able to do this. No. Not to mention the first level of bone forging, even the 5th level of bone forging, the 6th level of bone forging, even the 7th, 8th or 9th level of bone forging. You can never be like Han Yang. If it were him, he would have been exhausted by now, and Han Yang, as if he would never get tired, was constantly killing. In the caravan camp, the bodyguards and escorts from the Hengshan Chamber of Commerce nervously held their weapons in their hands, their throats a little dry. Han Yang's demon-like performance shocked everyone. Shall we help Mr. Han? That a small businessman murmured in a low voice, but it didn't resonate at all. Han Yang was strong, but the endless killing beasts were even more intimidating. No one dared to rush out to help Han Yang at this time. While Han Yang has stopped the beasts, organized the manpower and evacuate immediately, Nan Xiaofeng returned to the caravan at some point and started giving orders loudly. General Guard Nan, Mr. Han is still killing the enemy. You can't be so shameless. That's right, as a 5th level bone forging warrior, why don't you help Mr. Han kill the monster? The small businessmen in the caravan did not have the courage to kill the monsters, but they dared to rebuke Nan Xiaofeng. Nan Xiaofeng gave these people a cold look and said, "You are willing to help Han Yang kill the monsters. No one is stopping you. It is not your turn to take care of my own affairs. Let's go." After saying that, he evacuated with the people from the Hengshan Chamber of Commerce without looking back. Without the Tianke sword, he needs these bodyguards and escorts to distract the monsters for him. On the hillside hundreds of feet away, the woman in Xuanyi said with a cold face, "What an interesting little guy. His strength really cannot be judged by his realm. Chuba, take action and go down and kill him." Chapter 23 The Female Master's Wine and Sword Fairy. You are listening at novelfull.audio. As you command. Behind the woman in black clothes, a figure disappeared into the night like a ghost. In just a few jumps, he was integrated into the herd. Those monsters strangely did not attack him, as if they could not see this man. Baizhang. 10 feet. The black shadow is getting closer and closer to Han Yang. The moment Han Yang used the phantom cloud step to avoid the attacks of 5 monster beasts, the black shadow hid behind a monster beast and made a sneak attack. The sword in his hand is completely black and does not reflect light. It is obviously a killing sword specially designed for assassination. When the black sword thrust out, there wasn't even the sound of breaking through the air like when other bone forging masters struck out. It's like a snake message spit out by a poisonous snake. When it is discovered, it is already too late. At the moment when the black shadow took action, Han Yang's blade finally completed the final stroke of the white tiger curse seal drawn with the blood of monster essence, the finishing touch. After possessing the blood pupils, the white tiger was like a living creature, letting out a shocking roar. For symbols cursed seal knife. White tiger kill. Boundless blood energy and evil energy surged out from the Tianke sword, roaring and cutting away at dozens of monster beasts around it. Whoosh whoosh. Countless sword lights bloomed in the night. The dozens of monsters that pounced on Han Yang froze instantly, as if frozen in amber. The next moment, the bodies of these monster beasts were shattered into pieces and fell to the ground. The moment the 4 symbols cursed seal blade lit up, the assassin named Shuba had already sensed something was wrong, and when he wanted to retreat, it was also too late. The ferocious aura of the white tiger killer hit his sea of consciousness in an instant, leaving his spirit in chaos. When he woke up from the pain in his body, he could only watch in vain as his body, like those of dozens of monsters, was cut into pieces of flesh. You. Chuba only said one word, and 2 blood marks appeared on his face, and his head split into 3 parts. At the 5th level of bone forging, he was killed with one move without even being able to activate his ultimate move. Han Yang's sword skills didn't even take the initiative to read and release him, but were destroyed invisibly along with dozens of monsters. What? How is this possible? The woman in Xuanyi took a step forward in surprise, her pretty face full of shock. Chu Ba is the top killer of the 4 Seasons building. With the help of the ultimate assassination technique of the 4 Seasons Tower, ordinary 6th and 7th level bone forging masters may not be his opponents when he attacks Tosi. Now, he was killed by that junior with a knife. This junior, is it possible that it was not a coincidence that he killed Zhang Taixian? Is he a chess piece of Yuanmen? The woman in Xuanyi no longer cared about hiding her whereabouts, so she took out a green jade bamboo flute and put it to her lips. The bamboo flute vibrated but did not make a sound. which seemed extremely strange. The moment the flute started playing, the eyes of all the monsters in the beast tide turned blood red, and they went completely crazy, attacking all the humans in front of them. The four symbols cursed seal sword is actually beyond the power limit that Han Yang can control at this time. After the stabbing, his face turned pale, and the light of the only tempered bone on his right arm even dimmed, but his back was still straight, and there was no trace of fear in his eyes. A real man has something to do and something not to do. Behind him is Luo City, with tens of millions of lives and the memories of him in Xiaoqian for 3 years. He cannot retreat and will not retreat. Kill. Han Yang, holding a knife in his hand, attacked the beasts that were boiling because of the sound of the flute. It turns out that there are still such fools in this world. At this moment, a group of white clothes appeared on the canopy of trees in the distance. It was a woman with flying clothes and a fairy-like appearance. The woman was covered with a veil, so her true appearance could not be seen clearly, but she showed a peerless charm. Under the moonlight, there was a faint white light surrounding her body. This is the characteristic of perfect bone training, and all the bones in the body have been tempered. The woman has a pair of red phoenix eyes and 2 curved willow leaf eyebrows. She looks forward to her appearance and is not angry but is proud of herself. Li Xuanyu. Nan Xiaofeng, who was preparing to escape with his men, froze on the spot the moment he saw the woman in white, dressed in white clothes and veiled. A red wine gourd hangs around his waist. There is only one person dressed like this in the 9 cities, the number 1 Tianjiao of the Yuan sect, the number 1 young master of the 9 cities, Li Xuanyu, the wine and sword immortal. He is only 19 years old, but he has already perfected his bone forging, and may break through the qi gathering at any time and complete the transformation from immortal to mortal. This woman is the number 1 legend in 9 cities. Nan Xiaofeng never expected that this young lady would actually appear in this place. The thousands of first-order monsters that had scarlet pupils before seemed to have been frightened by their natural enemies. They groaned and crawled to the ground, one person, overwhelming the whole crowd. Even without using a single move, the beast tide was eliminated. Han Yang looked at the Xianxian with fluttering sleeves above the tree crown with some surprise. In the past, I only heard his name but never saw his person, so I thought the rumors were untrue. When I saw him today, I realized that the world is ignorant and cannot understand the talent of genius. This Li Xuanyu, instead of just perfecting his bones, has clearly already gathered his qi. In fact, it is only one step away from returning to the state of nature. The look in your eyes is very interesting. Li Xuanyu looked curiously at Han Yang, who was standing with a knife and dressed in blood. It had been a long time since anyone had dared to look at her with such an unscrupulous look. This little man is very interesting. Before Han Yang could respond, she burped to herself, adding a bit of alcohol to her fairy aura. A few little bugs from the 4 Seasons Tower dare to start a wave of beasts in the 9 cities. I'm really tired of living. Li Xuanyu flicked his finger. A few drops of wine flew out of his hand, making a sharp sound and whizzing away. Boom, boom, boom. There was a roar, and all the trees were shattered wherever a few drops of wine passed. Jiu Sword Immortal, have mercy on me. That the woman in Xuani, who was so high-spirited earlier that she toyed with the entire caravan and even commanded monsters to capture Luo City, let out a whimper. The body shape changed in many directions, and more than 50 bones shone with light, but there was no way she could dodge a drop of wine that was shot at her. Puff. The body of the woman in Xuani was penetrated by the wine, and the wound seemed to have been injured by a sharp sword, with the front and back being transparent. The woman in Xuani's 7th level of bone forging was unable to recover. You ruined my cultivation. Feeling the light on her bones slowly dissipating, the woman in Xuani turned pale. You can give this little bug in the 4 Seasons Tower to the Lord of Taicheng City to collect the bounty. Li Xuanyu ignored the whining woman in black clothes and said to Han Yang, looking at the direction of your motorcade, are you going to participate in the Yuanmen martial arts competition? I am very optimistic about you. When the time comes, you can tell me your name. Before she finished speaking, her figure disappeared, and those thousands of demonic beasts, I don't know when, they all fled and died. Not a single one was left behind. Han Yang smiled bitterly and shook his head. This wine swordsman was as unruly as the legend said. He said he was optimistic about himself, but he never gave himself a chance to speak. just when Han Yang put away his knife and was about to walk towards the convoy, Li Xuanyu's voice sounded again. "Oh, I almost forgot one thing. A dignified person at the 5th level of bone forging, facing a tide of beasts, but fleeing without a fight, shall be punished for his crime, that a drop of wine, I don't know where it came from, puff." It penetrated directly through Nan Xiaofeng's head. Nan Xiaofeng's face even still maintained the joy of surviving the disaster. Chapter 24. I'm coming to the Li family in Taicheng. You are listening at novelfull.audio. The people from the Hengshan Chamber of Commerce remain silent. Their Hengshan Chamber of Commerce has been in trouble recently. First, the young master was killed by Han Yang at the door of the Chamber of Commerce, destroying the prestige of the Chamber of Commerce for decades. Now, one of the 3 great bodyguards of the Chamber of Commerce was also killed by Li Xuanyu, the wine swordsman. This is even worse for the Hengshan Chamber of Commerce. Unfortunately, they couldn't afford to offend either of these 2 people, so they could only be dumb and eat Coptis chinensis. Bah! That bitch actually wants to give up on us and run away. You're really not human. It seems that the Hengshan Chamber of Commerce is not trustworthy either. Young Master Han is still very powerful. He can stop the monsters by himself. He protected us all. After the beast tide, the reputation of the Hengshan Chamber of Commerce was completely ruined and it was spurned by all the merchants in the caravan. It is conceivable that after this incident spreads, the situation of the Hengshan Chamber of Commerce will inevitably become worse. "Mr. Han, please come here." An old man dressed as a businessman respectfully came to Han Yang and ordered his maids and servants to serve Han Yang. The other businessmen also expressed their gratitude to Han Yang. Han Yang relaxed his overexerted muscles, put the Tianke sword back into its sheath, and went to the luxurious carriage with the maid service. He was also very tired after killing so many monsters. The level is still too low. Han Yang couldn't help but sigh when he felt that the only bone that had been forged had tiny cracks. Seeing that Han Yang accepted the service of his team's maid, the old man nodded happily and looked at the others around him. "Why are you still standing there? Why don't you dig out the inner elixir of the monster and give it to Mr. Han? As you command." Boss Fong is right. Those businessmen who had survived the disaster finally woke up from a dream and began to collect the inner elixirs of monsters. Although they are all first-order monsters, there are thousands of them, which is a considerable fortune. Bah! This bitch must have attracted the monster, otherwise the wine sword immortal wouldn't have gone out of his way to capture her. Someone, tie her up and take her to Mr. Han's car. It can be said that the tiger is bullied by the dog. After his cultivation was abolished, the majestic assassin of the 4 Seasons Tower, who was at the 6th or 7th level of bone forging, was actually pushed by several body-tempering realm merchant guards and sent to Han Yang's car. "Give you a chance to tell me why you want to lure the beasts to kill me." Han Yang narrowed his eyes slightly and looked at the woman in black clothes. The woman in Xuani sneered. "Ha, don't treat me like a 3-year-old child. Do you think I will believe it? You dare to let me go?" Han Yang waved his hand lazily. "You misunderstood. I mean, as long as you tell me the purpose of attracting the beast tide to kill me, I can give you a happy death." The expression on the Xuani woman's face froze instantly. She didn't expect that a young man from Luo City would be so decisive in killing. "Give yourself a happy death." Perhaps to others, this statement is incredible, but the woman in Xuani knew very well that if she fell into the hands of the city lord of Taicheng, her end would be worse than death. Now, after a moment of silence, the woman in Xuani said, "Zhang Taixian was performing a secret mission for our 4 Seasons building. You killed him, took away what belonged to us, and ruined the follow-up actions of my 4 Seasons building." Han Yang took the tea offered by the maid, but his movements were awkward. He originally thought that these 4 Seasons Tower killers would be the trouble caused by his unscrupulous father-in-law, but he didn't expect it was actually because of Zhang Taixian. To be honest, if the woman in Xuani hadn't mentioned it, he would have forgotten that he had killed this person. The woman in black clothes suddenly looked at Han Yang with an inexplicable look and said, "Actually, this secret mission is to find a map." Puff! There was a soft sound, and the voice of the woman in black clothes stopped suddenly. With a look of disbelief still on her pretty face, Han Yang slowly retracted the finger that crushed the Xuani woman's head and said calmly, "Of course I will do what I promised you. As for the so-called secret, you can take it with you." I'm not interested. A stream of blood flowed from a finger-sized wound on the Xuani woman's forehead, and the body slowly fell. The two maids in the carriage were so frightened by this scene that they both looked at Han Yang with horrified eyes. This Mr. Han is too murderous. Naturally, Han Yang would not explain to them. As the killer of the Four Seasons Tower, the woman in Xuani confessed too happily. There must be a conspiracy, and he could not afford to listen to her nonsense. Four Seasons building. He has remembered this killer organization that is famous in the 13 counties of the southern region. 6 days later, Taicheng, among the 9 cities of Yuanmen, Luo City is considered a small city. As for Taicheng, because it is located near Yuanmen, it is extremely prosperous and is a large city with a population of 1 million. The magnificent ancient city wall shows the style of a big city. Mr. Han, there are still 3 days before the Yuanmen martial arts competition. If you don't mind, you can go to the Villain's Chamber of Commerce to stay temporarily for 2 days. Along the way, Boss Fong and others were very respectful to Han Yang. Han Yang smiled and said, I accept my kindness, but I have another purpose in coming to Taicheng. It's better that Boss Fong doesn't get too close to me. Han Yang came to Taicheng not to hang out, he came to take revenge. A bloody storm is inevitable, and there is no need to involve an innocent person like Boss Fong. Boss Fong was puzzled and didn't understand what Han Yang meant by this. Stop, who is in the car? Come down and get checked. As soon as the team arrived at the city gate, they were stopped by the city guards. Boss Fong asked in shock, Captain Yen, what happened? Why are the inspections so strict? The merchants in the caravan have traveled to various cities many times, and this is the first time they have seen such a well-prepared appearance. Captain Yen snorted coldly, this is not something you business travelers can inquire about. Move quickly and let everyone come out for inspection. Boss Fong had no choice but to come to the luxury carriage. Han Yang and others in the car had long heard the sounds outside. After asking Han Yang for instructions, the two maids respectfully opened the door curtain, prepared footrests and horse squats for Han Yang, and served him very well. It seems that Han Yang has been regarded as the most noble young master. However, the moment Captain Yen of the city guard saw Han Yang, his expression changed. Songlong. Captain Yen directly drew his sword in his hand, pointed at Han Yang and shouted, You are Han Yang. Han Yang looked at the city guard in surprise. Could it be that his reputation has spread here? You are so brave, you actually dare to come to Taicheng. Quick, inform the Li family and tell Han Yang to escape to Taicheng. Captain Yen asked one of his men to return to the city to report the news, while the rest blocked the city gate and surrounded Han Yang's carriage. Han Yang looked speechlessly at the city guards who were facing each other with swords. Escape to Taicheng? What nonsense, when did I escape? This time I came to Taicheng to completely resolve the grievances with the Li family. The Li family asked Qin Xiaoqian to be Li Ying's concubine, using their power to bully others. As Xiaoqian's fiancé, how could he pretend that nothing happened? The elder of the Chen family deserves to be forced into marriage, but the Li family is the real culprit. Captain Yen, misunderstanding, everything is a misunderstanding. Boss Fong had no idea what was going on. He thought Captain Yen was deliberately making things difficult, so he hurriedly took out a stack of banknotes and stuffed them into Captain Yen's hand. Roll. Captain Yen waved his sword and slashed towards Boss Fong's neck. The lives of businessmen are worthless in the eyes of warriors like them. Chapter 25 Li Family Tiger Cub. You are listening at novelfull.audio. The moment Captain Yen raised his sword, Han Yang's feet moved lightly, as if he were walking on clouds. Boom. A punch hit Captain Yan's chest, which was wide open. A body was instantly knocked back more than 10 feet and hit the city wall behind him hard. His eyes turned white and his chest was stained with blood. He didn't know whether he was alive or dead. The sudden battle plunged the scene into deathly silence. Those city guards did not expect that someone would dare to attack the captain of their 10-man team at the gate of Taicheng City. Han Yang. You are indeed a madman, no wonder you are wanted by the Li family. Several city guards trembled and raised their weapons, but no one dared to take action against Han Yang. Captain Yen was at the second level of bone forging, and they were all killed by Han Yang with one blow. these body-tempering warriors wouldn't be willing to die if they went up there. Boss Fong, who had narrowly escaped death, was shocked and shouted hurriedly, "Mr. Han, leave this place quickly and don't worry about us. Caravans travel to and from the 9 cities for business, and he knows the major forces in Taicheng very well. The Li family is one of the 3 major forces in Taicheng. It is very powerful, and there are even strong people in the late bone forging stage in the family. No matter how strong Han Yang was, facing the Li family would be a disaster." Han Yang flicked the non-existent dust on his clothes and said calmly, "I came to Taicheng just to find the Li family, so why would I leave? Boss Fong, I have good intentions. There are some things that you cannot interfere with. Let's just say goodbye." Before he finished speaking, he had already stepped towards the city gate. The city guards were armed with swords and guns, but they did not dare to take action at all, and were forced back step by Han Yang. The aura erupting from Han Yang was like a tiger descending from the mountain, which had already shocked them. Herod. At this moment, the roar of war horses sounded. A group of cavalry galloped from the city. "Han Yang! How dare you come to Taicheng?" That with an angry shout, a cavalryman took the lead. The horse spear in his hand pierced the air, like a black python, piercing Han Yang's chest. People use the power of horses, and horses help people. It was obviously only the 2nd level of bone forging, but it still exerted the powerful impact of the 3rd level of bone forging. The moment the war horse rushed over, Han Yang stepped on the ground with his left foot and jumped up, in everyone's astonished eyes. His right foot actually stepped on the stabbing horse. Taking 2 steps above the horse, Han Yang's figure jumped up again, but when he jumped up again, he struck the cloud-detecting hand with his left hand and directly grabbed the throat of the cavalryman. Boom! Han Yang's arm shook, and the cavalryman was thrown out like a sandbag, knocking the 2nd cavalryman directly to the ground. At the same time, Han Yang had reached the sky above the 3rd cavalryman and stepped on it. The cavalryman with the 2nd level of bone forging felt his head snap, and his neck was stepped on into his chest. The horses boiled and roared continuously. All the cavalry behind them subconsciously tightened their reins and did not dare to move forward. 3 of the 6 Li family cavalry in black armor were killed instantly. The other 3 people were also frightened. "Han Yang, you are killing people in Taicheng, you are tired of living." Among the remaining 3 cavalrymen, the leader of the young man roared with anger. "Are you from the Li family?" Standing on the saddle, Han Yang, dressed in white as snow, looked as if he were a fairy. Taicheng is the home ground of the Li family, but at this time, Han Yang was standing at the gate of Taicheng, suppressing the Li family so that they could not lift their heads. The city guards at the city gate were frightened. Those 3 cavalrymen, 2 were at the 2nd level of bone forging, and 1 was at the 1st level of bone forging. They were all strong men with good skills, but under Han Yang's hands, he was like a chicken or a dog, unable to catch even 1 shot. These city guards finally realized that the grievances between the Li family and Han Yang were not something that merchants could get involved with, and similarly, they were not allowed to participate at all. The leading young man from the Li family seemed to have gained courage from the words Han Yang said about the Li family. He pointed at Han Yang and shouted, "You little beast, don't say I didn't give you a chance. If you dismount and surrender now, I will spare your life. Otherwise, if you kidnap the concubine of the Li family, you will definitely die." Hearing that this young man from the Li family actually regarded Xianxia as a concubine of the Li family, murderous intent flashed in Han Yang's eyes. The next moment, his figure suddenly disappeared. Ah! The young man from the Li family fell off his horse in a panic, as if seeing a ghost, and hurriedly escaped. Han Yang's figure appeared again, already standing on the young man's horseback, looking down from a high position. Han Yang's eyes were full of coldness, and there was a possibility of killing him at any time. "Stop!" At this moment, a middle-aged figure suddenly appeared and fished the young man from the Li family out from under the horse's belly. The one with green armor is the deputy general, and the one with white armor is the chief general. This man is of green armor and is very powerful. He is obviously the deputy general guarding Taicheng. The middle-aged lieutenant general looked at Han Yang indifferently. "Your Excellency went on a killing spree at the gate of our Taicheng city. Doesn't it mean that you don't take our Taicheng general's mansion seriously? General Yan, this boy, killed Captain Yan at the city gate. Dare to kill the city guards, you are clearly provoking the authority of the general's government. General Yan, just come and capture him quickly. The remaining 3 Li family members all framed Han Yang in unison. There was no mention of the Li family's personal use of public weapons and the city guards helping the Li family capture Han Yang. When the middle-aged Deputy General Yan heard this, his eyes suddenly turned cold. You dare to kill my nephew, you are so brave. Hearing the words of the guard Deputy General, a smile flashed across the face of the young man from the Li family. Although their surname is Yan, General Yan and Captain Yan have nothing to do with each other. It is obvious that he is looking for an excuse to attack Han Yang. Hearing General Yan's words, Han Yang looked indifferently, as if he had not heard them. Killing one person is killing 2 people is killing. Since someone is looking for death, I am willing to fulfill it. Why bother the general to take action? My Li family's enemies should be dealt with by my Li family. But just when the fight was about to break out, a voice came from a nearby restaurant. In the eyes of everyone, a figure jumped down from the restaurant, as light as a feather. Li family tiger cub, Li Jian. General Yan frowned slightly. This Li Jian is a martial arts genius of the younger generation of the Li family. When he was 17 last year, he had already entered the 2nd level of bone forging. Now 1 year has passed, he is 18 years old, and no one knows what state he is in. Moreover, after the Yuanmen heard about his talent, they sent elders to personally deliver the martial arts selection token, which was a glorious moment for the family, but General Yan actually didn't want Li Jian and Han Yang to fight. The son of a rich man cannot sit down in the hall. With Li Dian's talent and status, there was absolutely no need to fight for his life against a desperado like Han Yang who had no heel. The young man from the Li family standing next to General Yan clenched his fists. They are both the younger generation of the Li family, and as soon as Li Jian appeared, he took away all his light. This kid is really hateful. Why don't he just die in peace and give Li Jian a chance to shine? I heard that you killed many elders of the Qin family and forcibly took away concubines from my Li family. I don't believe it. Li Dian's eyes were arrogant, and he obviously didn't take Han Yang into consideration. Hearing the words concubine of the Li family again, Han Yang's eyes became cold. Just these words, you will die. Li Jian was startled and then laughed. You want to kill me? Ha 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 ha, a great head is here again, come and get it if you have the ability. Before he finished speaking, Li Jian had already pounced down like a tiger, his clothes and sleeves flying, his muscles and bones roaring together, and he made a faint roaring sound. Chapter 26. Let you live a few more days. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Tiger. The moment he saw Li Dian's tiger fist strike, Han Yang burst into laughter. He masters the 4 symbols curse seal knife. In this small world, who knows tiger fist better than himself? Li Jian is just doing his best. Tiangang. The moment Li Jian pounced on him, Han Yang did not dodge or dodge, but he waved his fist forward with a Tiangang fist, like the rising sun. Boom. The 2 fists clashed directly with each other. Tigers roar in the mountains and forests, and all beasts surrender. The great sun and the sky are unrivaled. Tiangang and the tiger were fighting, but Han Yang didn't move at all. But Li Jian was directly knocked away 7 or 8 feet away, and his figure was in a miserable state. This scene shocked everyone present. General Yan could not hide the look of shock in his eyes. Because Qin Yu was so powerful in the 9 cities, he had heard a little bit about the Qin family's son-in-law. I heard that he is a waste whose cultivation has been destroyed. I never thought that not only would I recover as before, I would also be so strong. With one move, he actually knocked back the Li family tiger cub. You deserve to die. Li Dian's eyes were bloodshot, the corners of his mouth were cracked, and his voice was fierce, like an angry mad tiger. Since he became famous, he has not been defeated by his peers. How could he not be angry now that he was shaken off by a new son-in-law of the Qin family? In an instant, the young genius was overwhelmed with murderous intent and shame. He raised his Yuanli crazily and rushed towards Han Yang. As everyone knows, Han Yang was also quite surprised. One punch failed to kill the opponent. This cub of the Li family seems to have practiced some kind of bodybuilding technique. It is only at the 3rd level of bone forging, but it is actually more resistant to beatings than Qin Qi, the elder of the Qin family, who is at the 5th level of bone forging. But it doesn't matter. If one punch can't solve it, then use 2 punches. There is no need for Mr. Li Jian to take action. This junior can just leave it to me. Just when Han Yang was about to kill Li Jian, General Yan suddenly took action, shouted loudly, and punched Han Yang's temple. 38 bones flashed with light. This Taicheng Town Guard lieutenant is also a 6th-level bone forging expert. It can be seen that the overall strength of Taicheng is much stronger than that of Luocheng. Luocheng's garrison General Yi Bufan is only at the 6th level of bone forging, and his deputy is only at the 5th level. Boom boom boom. The opponent's punch directly exploded the air, and the crackling air explosion sounded like thunder. The ears of the ordinary warriors around him were ringing, almost deafening. If you want to stand up for Li Jiaqiang, then, go to hell. Han Yang's heart boiled with fighting spirit, and he was ready to activate the blood-burning secret technique to kill the ignorant guard deputy on the spot. It's ridiculous. At this moment, a figure came from nowhere. With an understatement of his hand, he struck General Yan with a thunderous punch and eliminated him invisible. Even Li Jian, who was as crazy as a tiger, was held down by this person. Okay. They are all talented people participating in my Yuanmen's martial arts competition. Why fight and kill them? Yun Danfeng gently pressed down the person at the 6th level of bone forging, and it turned out to be an old man in green shirt with a long beard, a thin face, and a vague air of a master. Elder Mo. Are you going to interfere in the feud between the Li family and this person? General Yan's face looked a little ugly when he saw the person coming. This old man is an elder of the Yuanmen, responsible for Taicheng's enrollment matters, and has a prominent position. If this old man intervenes, it will be difficult for him to kill Han Yang even if he is the deputy general. Elder Mo, let me go. I will kill this person. Li Jian roared crazily. Elder Mo looked at the two of them with a smile and said, I said, you are not allowed to do anything before the martial arts competition. Although he was smiling, the coldness in his words made General Yan, a 6th-level bone forging expert, feel shuddering. The madness in Li Dian's eyes also faded a lot, but he still yelled forcefully. He is a son-in-law with a strong bone forging ability, so he is qualified to participate in the Yuanmen martial arts election. Elder Mo, you must have made a mistake. Elder Mo shook his head helplessly. You guys, do you really think that I am so stupid that I can't even figure out who is participating in the martial arts election? Little guy, take out your token and show it to these two guys. The second half of the sentence was naturally addressed to Han Yang. Han Yang sighed. Although the old man had good intentions, he hindered him from killing people. Perhaps, in Elder Mo's view, it is absolutely impossible for the 1st level of bone forging to defeat the 6th level of bone forging, and he is protecting himself. Forget it, let these two live a few more days. Han Yang casually turned over the token. Li Dian's face turned extremely ugly when he saw the token in Han Yang's hand. Very good. In that case, I will give Elder Mo a favor and let you live a few more days. Li Jian glared at Han Yang with malicious eyes and walked away. General Yan also expressionlessly bowed his hands to Elder Mo and walked away with the city guards. Elder Mo suppressed the smile on his face and said in an angry tone, Han Yang, right? Although you have some talent, you are still too impulsive. You came to Taicheng rashly, which is no different from seeking death. Nanjiang Fei, I worked hard to help you get a martial arts selection token, you must not let him down. This angry tone made Han Yang startled. Could it be that this Elder Mo is the 3rd elder of Chuanfa Hall? Before he could ask, the other party's figure flickered and disappeared from sight. The 8th level of bone forging. Yuanmen seems to be weaker than expected. Elder Mo's cultivation was slightly beyond Han Yang's expectation. It was not that he was too strong, but that he was too weak. I thought that the sect that could cultivate Li Xuanyu, the wine swordsman, would be very powerful, but from Elder Mo's perspective, that doesn't seem to be the case. Li Xuanyu, the wine swordsman, may be just an anomaly. Mr. Han, you probably don't have a place to stay in Taicheng yet, why not? Boss Fang, who was hiding somewhere before, came over. Han Yang smiled and said, you know that I have offended the Li family, but you still dare to get close to me? Boss Fang said helplessly, now the Li family may have regarded me as one of the young master. It's too late to sever the relationship. It's better to ask the young master to take care of me. Boss Fong said it bluntly, but more importantly, he wanted to take advantage of the opportunity to get involved with Han Yang. Han Yang was pleasantly surprised by the talent he had shown previously and in the battle just now. Even the famously family tiger cub was knocked away with one move. If these proud sons of the emperor take the first step and establish connections before taking off, the Fong family chamber of commerce will surely prosper in the future. As a businessman, you are surprisingly honest. Well, you also have foresight. Han Yang patted Boss Fong on the shoulder and went with him to the Fong Chamber of Commerce's headquarters in Taicheng. Half an hour later, Han Yang sat cross-legged in the secret room and began to run the 9-turn star technique to absorb the thousands of first-order monster inner elixirs. The demonic power in the first-level demonic elixir, transformed by the 9-turn star technique, turned into a trace of star power and began to warm his meridians and body. There is a huge difference in the energy contained in the inner elixir between a first-order monster and a third-order monster. The inner elixir of the third-level Overlord Lion at the beginning only allowed him to recover some of his injuries, and was not enough to attack the acupuncture points of the 9 turns of stars art. This is even more true for these thousands of first-order monster inner elixirs. 4 hours later, all the inner elixirs of the monster beasts were consumed, leaving only a few faint rays of star power in Han Yang's body. It is still far away from the Yutong point, the second acupoint that impacts the Ren channel. It is indeed the most powerful divine method in the ages. It is extremely difficult to break through it. That if he practiced other techniques, thousands of first-level demonic beast inner elixirs would be enough for him to break through from the first level of bone forging to the third level of bone forging, but now, Han Yang, who practiced the 9 turns of stars, could only barely generate a few rays of star power. But Han Yang understood that this was not because the 9 turns of stars art was too weak, but because it was too strong. Mr. Han, the Zhang family in Taicheng has sent an invitation, inviting you to a banquet at Yaya Pavilion tonight. As soon as Han Yang finished his training and came out of seclusion, Boss Fong excitedly came to him with an invitation. Chapter 27, Super Strong Force and Good Calculation. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Taicheng Zhang family. I'm not going. Han Yang refused directly. Han Yang had naturally heard of the Zhang family in Taicheng. It was one of the 3 major families in Taicheng that was as famous as the Li family. However, he had little contact with the Zhang family and was not interested in attending the appointment. Boss Fong was startled and said hurriedly, Mr. Han, this is the Zhang family in Taicheng. You have now offended the Li family. If you reject the Zhang family again, I'm afraid. He originally thought that Han Yang had never heard of the Zhang family, but Han Yang's expression didn't look like it, so he could only persuade him earnestly. The Fong family chamber of commerce is now tied to Han Yang, so he naturally hopes that Han Yang can get in touch with the Zhang family. Han Yang smiled and said, if Boss Fong invites me to drink, I won't refuse. As for the so-called Zhang family, let's forget it. The second half of Boss Fong's words was stuck in his throat, and he didn't know how to persuade him. At this moment, a burst of laughter came from outside the house. You are worthy of being the famous Mr. Han in Taicheng. His arrogance is beyond the reach of ordinary people like us. Following Wen's words, a middle-aged man holding a folding fan walked in from the outside, cupped his hands and said, Xiao Yuan Shan, guest of the Zhang family, has met Mr. Han. Han Yang frowned. I don't really like arty scholars. This is the experience accumulated from his 8 reincarnations. Such arty scholars are either empty trash or treacherous characters full of bad intentions. Xiao Yuanshan's expression froze, and he said with a bitter smile, it makes Mr. Han laugh. Before he finished speaking, he closed his folding fan, and a fierce aura belonging to a warrior surged out. In an instant, he changed from a frail scholar to a murderous warrior. The transformation between temperaments left Boss Fong on the side stunned. Han Yang was dumbfounded. This Xiao Yuanshan was really interesting. Not many people could do it so openly. Mr. Han, my young master has invited me. It involves Ling Yu's disappearance. Maybe you won't be disappointed. This person is really interesting. First, he used the appearance of a scholar to visit Han Yang. Seeing that Han Yang didn't like this, he immediately changed to the appearance of a martial artist and spoke frankly and straightforwardly. Han Yang somewhat understood why this guy became a guest of the Zhang family. just the ability to read people's dishes is a good combination of vertical and horizontal, and a good talker. I hope you won't disappoint me as you said. I don't have a good temper when I'm disappointed. This time, Han Yang, who nodded, did not refuse. If the father-in-law's disappearance is not investigated thoroughly, how will he be able to see Xiaoqian in the future? After leaving the Fang family Chamber of Commerce, they boarded the Zhang family's carriage. After 2 sticks of incense, they arrived at Yaoyue Pavilion. Seeing this restaurant, Han Yang understood the origin of the name Yaoyue Pavilion. Yaoyue Pavilion has 18 floors and is the tallest building in Taicheng. Standing on the top of the building, you can stretch out your hand and catch the moon. Xiao Yuanshan had been observing Han Yang. He thought that Han Yang, who came from a small place in Luocheng, would have a shocked expression when he saw Yaoyue Pavilion, but he only saw Han Yang looking at it indifferently and stopped paying attention. He couldn't help but be secretly surprised. How did he know that when Han Yang was reborn as the 9th generation, he had seen so many immortal pavilions and temples? They were just 18-story buildings, and they really couldn't catch his eye. When the 2 figures appeared in Yaoyue Pavilion, the noisy restaurant instantly became quiet. Everyone's eyes were focused on Han Yang. The story of Han Yang in Luo City defeating the Li family's tiger cub with 1 punch has already spread a lot. It may be an exaggeration to say that Han Yang's name is now a household name in Taicheng, but at least among warriors, it can be said that everyone knows it. Master Han. Xiao Yuanshan said with a smile, there are also rules for going to Yaoyue Pavilion. There are 2 ways to say it, Wendeng Tower and Wuding Tower. Which one are you going to choose? According to Xiao Yuanshan's idea, Han Yang should ask what the Wendeng Tower and Wuding Tower have to say next, and then choose a way to climb up obediently. Unexpectedly, Han Yang walked into the lobby, sat down at one of the tables casually, and then said calmly, I am waiting for your young master here. If you don't get half a cup of tea, I won't accompany you. The smile on Xiao Yuanshan's face froze instantly. He followed the 3rd son of the Zhang family and met many so-called capable people and strangers with eccentric personalities, but this is the first time I have encountered someone as domineering and firmly in control as Han Yang. Miscalculation. Xiao Yuanshan suddenly realized a problem. If Han Yang had such a domineering character, then when he was at the Fang family Chamber of Commerce, he should have directly asked the 3rd son of the Zhang family to come to the door instead of inviting Yu Pavilion along with him. This was obviously Han Yang's deliberate appearance with him to attract the attention of the Li family. Now, no matter how the Zhang family responds, the Li family will probably suspect that the Zhang family has joined forces with Han Yang. Xiao Yuanshan didn't expect that an 18-year-old boy could have such sophisticated calculations. Jian came as promised and plotted against the Zhang family. This time, the 3rd young master is afraid that he will steal the chicken but lose the rice. Then Mr. Han, please wait a moment. I'll report it right now. With a wry smile, Xiao Yuanshan reluctantly cupped his hands and turned to go upstairs. The drinkers on the 1st floor didn't know why. They just thought that Han Yang was too arrogant. They all came to Yaoyue Pavilion and didn't even go upstairs. Are all the people in Luo City so ignorant of current affairs, that just when everyone was whispering and preparing to watch the excitement, a discordant voice came from the 2nd floor. There was a middle-aged man in blue shirt standing at the top of the stairs, looking down at Han Yang with a hint of provocation on his face. In the lobby on the 1st floor, someone whispered. Is this Iron Sword Wudu? It is said that he is very close to the Li family. Is he going to stand up for the Li family? I think they want to disrupt the situation and don't want Han Yang to come into contact with the Zhang family. Just watch the fun, it's going to be interesting this time. Many people looked at Han Yang with interest. They also want to see how this talented young man who is famous in Taicheng today will respond. However, to their disappointment, Han Yang just drank by himself, as if he didn't hear Wu Du's provocation. Wu Du's face darkened and he was about to walk down the stairs. At this moment, a figure floated down from the sky above the central hall, as if an immortal was banished to the mortal world, so cool and unrestrained. The 3rd son of the Zhang family. Zhang Wuyo. After waves of exclamations, the guests in the lobby on the 1st floor seemed to have been collectively silenced. They were silent and did not even dare to look at Zhang Wuyo. Ha ha ha, you are worthy of being valued by Mr. Chen. Brother Han is really unexpected. Zhang Wuyo, the third son of the Zhang family who had disappeared, flicked his clothes, walked straight into the lobby, and sat directly at Han Yang's table, as if the two had known each other for many years and there was no unpleasantness between them. Han Yang nodded lightly. "Tell me, what is the purpose of letting me come?" Zhang Wuyo smiled and said without feeling dissatisfied, "Brother Han is quick to talk to others, so it's not in vain for me to agree with you. I want Brother Han to beat Li Jian to death in the Yuanmen martial arts competition, that it can be said that Zhang Wuyo's words are full of unstoppable blood." Moreover, when he said these words, he did not lower his voice at all, he just said it carelessly in front of many people. "Come out," Han Yang said noncommittally. "Of course I will kill any member of the Li family when I meet them. However, if you want me to be your murderous knife, you must first do something for me to show your sincerity." "Oh. Brother Han, just ask." Zhang Wuyo, who was smiling, didn't seem to mean to refuse. Han Yang pointed his finger at Wu Du, who had just provoked him verbally, and said, "Kill him, for me." Chapter 28 Try Han Yang's Strength. You are listening at novelfull.audio. It seemed like a gentle sentence, but the murderous intention contained in it was more shocking than Zhang Wuyo's murder of Li Jian. Even Zhang Wuyo was stunned. After looking at Han Yang closely to see that he wasn't joking, Zhang Wuyo nodded and said, "Okay." Snapped. Zhang Wuyo snapped his fingers and pointed at Wu Du. Wu Du was standing in the box on the second floor, looking at Han Yang and Zhang Wuyo with confusion, wondering why they were both pointing at him. The next moment, a sword whistle sounded in his ears. "Not good," thought Wu Du was startled and tried to draw his sword again, but it was already too late. Puff. A dark, dull sword pierced his neck directly. It was not until before his death that he saw a petite figure standing in his shadow like a ghost. There was a gurgling sound in his throat, and Wu Du fell to the ground weakly. Until his death, he never thought that Han Yang would have murderous intent on him just because of a word. Other guests in the lobby on the first floor lowered their heads. 4 or 5 Yuuj clerks also began to deal with the scene quickly. Some moved the corpse, some wiped the blood, and some sprayed pollen to remove the bloody smell. The process is extremely skillful, and it's obviously not the first time I've done something like this. Han Yang picked up the wine glass and showed a satisfied smile. "Now, we can talk about my unreasonable father-in-law." Hearing Han Yang's evaluation of the number one person in 9 cities, Zhang Wuyo's mouth twitched. He didn't believe that Han Yang couldn't see that he was deliberately demonstrating by instructing his men to kill the famous iron sword Wu Du in Yaoyue Pavilion in public, but Han Yang seemed to have not understood the meaning, and remained calm and calm. This son-in-law of the Chen family is more terrifying than he imagined. This thought came to Zhang Wuyo's mind, and his smile became more sincere. After a stick of incense, Han Yang left with a full meal. Zhang Wuyo stood in front of the door of Yaoyue Pavilion, with his hands behind his back, looking at Han Yang's retreating back with indifferent eyes. "Sir, has he promised to do something for you?" Xiao Yuanshan appeared next to Zhang Wuyo and asked in a low voice. Zhang Wuyo did not answer Xiao Yuanshan's question, but said calmly, "Find someone to inform the Li family about Han Yang leaving Yaoyue Pavilion and returning to the Fong Family Chamber of Commerce." Xiao Yuanshan was startled. Didn't the third young master want to use Han Yang's hand to kill Li Jian, the Li family's cub? Why did you still tip off the Li family? If the Li family knew this news, Han Yang might not be able to return to the Fong Family Chamber of Commerce alive. Just as he was about to ask more carefully, he looked up and saw Zhang Wuyo's cold and ruthless face. He immediately swallowed back half of his words. Xiao Yuanshan bowed respectfully and accepted the order to exit. "I, Zhang Wuyo, have been asked to act like a monkey in public for once. I want to see if you have the money to make a knife for me. I hope that your knife will not be broken by someone without killing someone." Zhang Wuyo's eyes reflected the lights on the roadside, like a bottomless spring. Haisher, on the road from Yaoyue Pavilion to Fangjia Chamber of Commerce, the number of pedestrians gradually became less and less. Under the moonlight, the street looked particularly quiet, especially after the moon was also covered by a dark cloud. A bone-deep chill hit my face. Groups of men in black were moving through the night. Several surrounding streets were tightly cordoned off, and no one was allowed to pass by. The silent and dark Taicheng was like a ghost. "Brother Lu, I didn't expect the Li family to invite you here." that a man with big arms and round waist, like an iron tower, was carrying a giant hammer with a naive smile on his face. In front of him was a thin, middle-aged man who looked as if he could be blown over by a gust of wind. The two men formed a sharp contrast. The middle-aged man said in a sharp voice, "The Li family is really generous. The Black Mountain Stone dares to be used, and even my poison demon Lu Yun is not enough. They actually hired the Four Seasons Tower Killer." As soon as Lu Yun finished speaking, Gan immediately looked at the wall beside him, but he didn't see anyone. "The guys in the Four Seasons building are just wretched." Gan curled his lips in disdain and said in a loud voice, "It's just a matter of killing a junior who is at the first level of bone forging. Is there any need to mobilize so many troops?" Lu Yun coughed and said with a serious expression, "News just came from Luo City. That boy killed the Luo City garrison general Yi Bufan. Although Yi Bufan is an incompetent waste, he still has the 6th level of bone forging. You can't be careless." "What? Did he kill Yi Bufan?" Shigandang's eyes widened and he felt a chill rising from his back. Coming, at this moment, a voice like the low voice of a night owl sounded in their ears, making both of them look stern. In the night, Han Yang strolled along the long street. After that unreliable disappearance, Yanhua Valley turned into a ruin. This is really unexpected. Zhang Wuyo's intelligence sources are obviously much more detailed than those of Nanjiang and Nanlingxue. Year ago, Qinyu disappeared in Yanhua Valley. That day, Yanhua Valley was filled with rays of light and thunder, just like the end of the world. After that day, ruins appeared in Yanhua Valley, causing the Yuanmen to block Yanhua Valley immediately. The so-called ruins are tombs or ruins left by ancient powerful men, and they often represent huge opportunities. I thought it was just the Qin family colluding with foreign enemies to frame Qinyu, but unexpectedly, it was related to ancient ruins. It seemed that Qinyu's disappearance was more complicated than I imagined. Moreover, if there are ruins in Yanhua Valley, he is just an inner disciple, so it may be difficult to enter. There are some changes to be made regarding the Yuanmen martial arts competition. Perhaps it should be more dazzling. Just when he thought of this, Han Yang suddenly stopped and raised a smile at the corner of his mouth. Interesting, the third son of the Zhang family is not a good person either. One of his hands slowly grasped the handle of the Tianke sword. At this moment, Han Yang's energy reached unprecedented concentration. In the night, murderous intent comes, but Han Yang felt calmer than ever before. It was so calm that he seemed to be able to hear the wind roaring in the night. The rustling sound of dead leaves scratching the ground was also clear to my ears. Snapped. Snapped. There were heavy footsteps, approaching from far away. A tall figure walked out of the darkness. It seemed like there was only one person in the night. He was like a high wall, blocking out all the light around him. When this tall figure walked into the light, the first thing that caught his eye was his scarlet eyes that looked like wild beasts. Ouch! Gandang let out a roar that didn't sound like a human voice, swung the warhammer in his hand violently, and jumped up like a giant ape. The huge body that should be clumsy has incredible jumping ability. The light emitted by the 30 bones reflected in Han Yang's eyes like a crescent moon. In the journey of martial arts, one must first have momentum, and then have intention. This Gandang has not yet understood the artistic conception of martial arts, but his perception of potential is far beyond ordinary people. With one blow, it was as if Mount Tai was pressing down on the top, making it inevitable for people to avoid it. 10 feet. 5 feet. 3 feet. At the moment when the war hammer broke through the sky, Tsanglang. The light of the sword lights up. Chapter 29 Breaking the Killing Situation with One Sword. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Gandang is a master of the 5th level of bone forging. They are fierce bandits from a place called Black Mountain hundreds of miles away from Taicheng. This man was born with divine power. Although he could only forge 30 bones, he once killed a 6th level expert who had forged 32 bones with 3 hammers. Black Mountain Stone is synonymous with violence in the 9 cities. The war hammer he swung, even a 6th level bone forging expert would not dare to take it head on. Therefore, Gandang had always been confident in his attacks and believed that Han Yang would be unable to parry under the influence of his own fighting strength. But, the moment his war hammer hit him, the figure of Han Yang in front of him disappeared like a ghost. Shigandang turned around in shock, and a cold voice sounded in his ear. A reckless man is a reckless man. The next moment, his vision was stained red with blood. Han Yang's movement skills are fast, and his sword skills are, even faster. If Shigandang hadn't grasped the battle situation and sensed the crisis in advance, this sword would have definitely sealed his throat and killed him, but even so, Shigandang was cut off half of his neck by this unavoidable sword light. All the strength in his body was released with blood from the wound on his neck. How could it be so fast? This was the only thought in Shigandang's mind. Boom! The heavy war hammer fell heavily to the ground. A deep pit about 10 feet in diameter was smashed into the bluestone paved street, and countless gravel flew everywhere, and Shigandang's body also fell into the pit of strength, as if he had dug a pit for himself, and he couldn't climb out for a long time. As expected of a guy who can kill a 6th-level bone-forging guy, actually, he killed Black Mountain Stone Gondang with just one move. The thin figure of Poison Demon Lu Yun loomed above the nearby houses. His thin figure squatted on the eaves, like a funny giant monkey. The moment Han Yang cut Shigandang's neck open, he stepped on the ground with one foot and shot his body towards Lu Yun above the eaves. Die to me! At this moment, a thunderous roar came from below. In an injury that would have killed ordinary people, Shigandang was still alive. With his eyes wide open, he swung his hammer at Han Yang like a dying grizzly bear. At the moment when he delivered the fatal blow, an inaudible sound broke through the air, mixed with the whistling sound of the war hammer, and shot towards the center of Han Yang's eyebrows at an extremely weird speed. If Han Yang's 5 senses hadn't been strengthened by the 9 turns of Stars Ju, perhaps he would have ignored this well-hidden voice. White Tiger Kill. Without hesitation, Han Yang instantly launched the 4 symbols Curse Seal Saber to kill. The white tiger roared up, extremely shocking in the night. Countless sword lights formed the shape of a fierce white tiger, overwhelming the sky and the earth, and shrouded the downwards. Shigandang's huge body barely stood up, but was instantly knocked down by the white tiger, and then submerged. Submerged together with him was the 4 Seasons Tower Killer who was hiding in the darkness and making a sneak attack. Lu Yun, who was secretly poking and releasing poisonous smoke, opened his mouth in shock. Is this the perception of the first level of bone forging? Is this a killing move that can be performed at the first level of bone forging? Even if they are at the peak of bone forging, under the careful layout of the 3 of them, they will be in a hurry when they are in a hurry. This kid is so terrifying. The blade was as sharp as a tiger, and Shigandang, who was at the peak of the 5th level of bone forging, was instantly broken by the sword light and turned into several corpses. There was a clang. The killer of the 4 Seasons Tower who secretly fired the poisonous needle left an arm behind and then disappeared. In the darkness, I don't know where the poisonous needle went. Lu Yun, on the other hand, was extremely horrified when he saw the figure, stepping on the smoke, leaping up, and then kicked himself directly in the face. Click, his skull was cracked by a kick, and his brain was shaken into chaos. He looked at Han Yang with eyes fixed on his face. Why isn't this kid poisoned? Han Yang, who was standing with a knife, fell back to the ground. He suddenly took a deep breath like a giant whale drinking water, and all the poisonous smoke was sucked into his belly. It's really a good thing, comparable to several second-level monster inner elixirs. The 9 transformations of Stars technique can transform all things, and this bit of poisonous smoke was quickly transformed into the power of stars. What the hell, what kind of monster? Lu Yun's body fell from the eaves, and until his death, he did not believe that someone could still swallow his Qi Ju poison smoke, which was the ultimate poison that could kill an 8th or 9th level bone forging master. Han Yang bent down and searched Lu Yun's body. Trash, there is only one poisonous smoke. Han Yang threw away Lu Yun's body in disappointment. If there were 3 or 4 more poisonous smokes, he could even attack the second acupoint. Unfortunately, it backfired. In an instant, 2 people were killed and 1 person was injured. Han Yang turned his attention to Yaoyue Pavilion. The 3rd young master of the Zhang family. On the day of the martial arts selection, I will definitely repay you the favor today. Hee hee. Leaving only a creepy laughter, his figure flashed and disappeared into the night. On the streets, it became increasingly silent. Inner city, Li family. Both Shigandang and Lu Yun were killed. Li Yao, who had led the Li family cavalry to attack Han Yang at the city gate, looked at the Four Seasons Tower killer with only one arm left in surprise. What's going on? Also, you people in the Four Seasons Tower are such useless people, even a forge man can't you kill even a junior with the first level of bones? The killer of the Four Seasons building wearing a white fox mask said in a deep voice, kill Shi Gondang instantly, not afraid of the poisonous smoke of Qijue. Such a first-level bone forging, the skills are not as good as others. A Japanese-level killer like me cannot be killed. The deposit will be returned to you. After saying that, the killer turned around and left without hesitation. Wait a minute. Li Yao's face was a little distorted and he said ferociously, I must kill this person. What is the price for killing him? These words made the Four Seasons Tower killer turn around, ponder for a moment and then said, according to the price in the later stage of bone forging, 100 bone forging pills. Impossible, Li Yao said angrily, 1 bone forging and 1 weight, you charge me the price for the later period of bone forging. Is this how the Four Seasons building does business? The assassin of the Four Seasons Tower said calmly, you can try to invite the 5th level of bone forging and the 6th level of bone forging to assassinate Han Yang and see if you can succeed. Oh, by the way, today, I, the assassin of the Four Seasons Tower, rose, took action and lured Han Yang away. Old man Mo of Yuanmen, 10 bone forging pills, remember to pay. After saying that, he left the room without looking back. Wow, Li Yao was so angry that he threw the teacup on the table to the ground. Trash, Nyang's trash, trash Four Seasons building, you can't kill people, how dare you ask me for money, but he could only curse, he must give this money, otherwise the Four Seasons Tower would kill him too. There is no one in this group of lunatics that they dare not kill, it is even rumored that the Four Seasons Tower once hunted down the Qi-gathering master because of the bounty issue. This group of people are typical desperados who want money rather than their lives. Little beast, I'll let you live for 2 more days. When the martial arts competition begins, you will definitely die. Li Yao gave up in anger, but regretted in his heart that he might have missed the opportunity to please his uncle Li Ying. If he can kill Han Yang, Li Ying will definitely reward him. Now, all I can do is watch Li Jian get these rewards that belong to him. Oh, Mr. Han, you are back. How was your discussion with the 3rd son of the Zhang family? Have you? Boss Fong stopped abruptly mid-sentence, because he saw the blood stains on Han Yang's white robe. My ancestors. Wouldn't this one also kill the 3rd son of the Zhang family? Boss Fong was almost scared out of his mind. Don't worry, it's settled. After a while, the Zhang family will send some elixirs over. You can accept them for me and bring them to the secret room. Han Yang slapped Boss Fong on the shoulder in a funny way. The old man's frightened look made people laugh so hard. Boss Fong finally came to his senses and wanted to ask Han Yang about the blood stains on his body, but found that Han Yang had already returned to the secret room to practice martial arts. He is indeed a genius-level figure. He is talented and diligent in his training. He could only sigh sadly. In less than half an hour, the Zhang family sent over 3 elixirs. Judging from the quality, it is not much worse than the Xianxia pearl and the fire origin fruit. This is the heritage of a big family. Han Yang began to practice in seclusion, transforming the power of 3 elixirs, and waited for the Yuanmen martial arts competition in 2 days. Chapter 30. The Yuanmen martial arts competition begins. You are listening at novelfull.audio. The 3 elixirs sent by the Zhang family are aniseed wisteria, fragrant snow apricot, and century-old cold salvia. They are of good vintage. It's a pity that it lacks the combination of strange medicines like the 3-eyed creature flower, so the effect is slightly reduced. I hope these 3 elixirs can help me hit the 2nd acupuncture point. Han Yang closed his eyes and stuffed the aniseed wisteria into his mouth. The pure medicinal power was transformed into a strong star power by the 9 turns of stars technique, and began to impact the 2nd acupoint above Ren vein. Yutong, boom. The power of the rising stars, after hitting the acupuncture point barrier, is like a flood blocked by a dam and returning in vain. It's still a little worse. Han Yang shook his head slightly, and then swallowed the fragrant snow apricot and centennial cold salvia together. the last time he swallowed thousands of first-order monster inner elixirs, the power of the stars had reached a limit. This time, combined with the 3-flavor elixir, he should have completed the acupoint rush, but what surprised Han Yang was that after 2 consecutive acupuncture attempts, he still failed. I still underestimated this eternally powerful divine method. The power of the stars required to impact the second acupoint is definitely several times that of the first acupoint. Han Yang himself is a decisive person and naturally does not allow himself to give up halfway. If we give up here, the next attack will be half the result with half the effort. Gritting his teeth, he pulled out the star power from the only tempered bone in his right arm. When this ray of power left the bones, the shining bones dimmed instantly, and even a crack appeared on the bones. But the power of the stars in Dantian became more and more intense. Come again. Han Yang gritted his teeth and launched the third attack with a desperate attitude. Click. A shattering sound came from the body, and a large hole on the Ren channel lit up instantly, like a bright sun, shining in all directions. 9 turns of stars, the second point of Ren vessel, open. Yutong point is in the middle of the chest. After opening the acupuncture point here, Han Yang could clearly feel that the internal organs seemed to have been tempered to a certain extent. A warrior's body tempering has reached a limit in the body tempering realm, but the 9-turn star technique was actually above the limit, and the body was tempered again. The ulna on the right arm also received the blessing of the power of stars following Han Yang's thoughts and began to shine. The second level of bone forging is done. Han Yang shook his right hand heavily. Boom. The sound of strong air explosions surged in the secret room, like a strong wind sweeping through the room. If we meet Yi Bufan now, we can defeat him head-on even if we don't attack his old wounds. Han Yang deeply realized the power of the 9 turns of stars art. This is a completely different training system from body tempering and bone forging, but it can use the residual energy to complete body tempering and bone forging after successfully punching the acupoints. Incredibly powerful. It's a pity. If I had practiced this method in my previous life, I might not have died 8 times in a row. In the secret room, the 2 large acupoints, Huiyin and Yutong, on Han Yang's Ren channel, are shining with light, reflecting each other. The 2 tempered bones on the right arm, one bright and one dark, are full of magic. Time is like running water. After experiencing an assassination, life became calm, except for the people from the city lord's mansion who took away the body of the 4 Seasons Tower killer killed by Li Xuanyu. The wine and sword immortal, nothing else happened. The third day, the day of the Yuanmen martial arts competition is coming. Han Yang left the Fang family chamber of commerce in a luxurious carriage arranged by boss Fang. As soon as he arrived at the gate of Taicheng, he met Elder Mo standing with his hands behind his back. Looking into the distance, Han Yang smiled. He thought the old man would come to visit on the day of the assassination, but he was quite patient. Elder Mo looked back at Han Yang and found that Han Yang's face was slightly pale. He couldn't help but frown slightly. Are you injured? That there was anger in his tone. Han Yang chuckled and said, how novel. 3 major bone forgings and 5 levels of encirclement and killing. One of them is a poison master. It's good that he didn't die. Isn't it weird to be injured? Naturally, he was not injured in the assassination, but used the power of the stars from the first bone to impact the acupoints, and he has not fully recovered yet. Hearing this, Elder Mo's face became more and more gloomy. He had already revealed Han Yang's identity in front of the Li family and the guarding generals, but the other party still dared to assassinate him. Wouldn't it be a slap in the face of his Yuanmen elder? Now, Han Yang is injured, which may affect the martial arts selection, which is undoubtedly something Elder Mo does not want to see. He took out a jade bottle from his arms and threw it to Han Yang. Elder Mo said coldly, don't worry, I will get this justice back for you. After that, the figure flashed and disappeared. He never mentioned the fact that he was swayed by people from the 4 Seasons building. It was too embarrassing and he had no shame to mention it. Han Yang opened the jade bottle and smelled it, and the smile on his face became stronger. As expected of the Yuanmen, this bottle of healing medicine is much more effective than the Zhang family's so-called gift. After swallowing the elixir in one gulp, Han Yang sat cross-legged and also transformed it into the power of the stars. The pale face gradually turned rosy under the nourishment of the medicine. On the official road, there was an endless stream of carriages and pedestrians. the Yuanmen martial arts competition is the most important event that shakes the 9 cities. All major families and forces that have warriors of suitable age will send their younger generation to participate in the martial arts election. In the large city of Taicheng alone, there are as many as 10,000 warriors between the ages of 16 and 18. The place for martial arts selection is located in Xianxia Valley, 50 miles away from Taicheng. This natural chasm valley is located on the edge of the monster forest, spanning 200 miles from east to west. According to the legend, the ancient power fought with the demon emperor and cut through the mountain with one sword, cutting out this canyon. There are still many stories passed down to this day. Mr. Han, this villain can only be sent here. I hope you can succeed in the martial arts competition, high school leader. Outside Xianxia Valley, Boss Fong bowed and saluted, looking somewhat relieved. The Mr. Han who served him was truly astonishing. First he defeated the young tiger of the Li family, and then he didn't give face to the third son of the Zhang family. A businessman like Boss Fong felt chills in his back when he thought about what Han Yang had done. Patting Boss Fong on the shoulder, Han Yang said with a smile, "I'd like to lend you some good advice. But if I lose the election and fail to enter the Yuan sect, I will have to trouble Boss Fong." These words made the expression on Boss Fong's face freeze instantly. He gritted his teeth fiercely, cupped his hands and said, "Anyway, Mr. Fong has tied this old life to Mr. Han, but if you are asked to do anything, you will obey your orders." "Okay, haha." Han Yang laughed and walked away. The 9 cities of Yuanmen belonged to 9 different test sites. When Han Yang appeared at the examination center in Luocheng, he immediately caused a commotion. The younger generation in Luo City subconsciously stepped back, making way for them to stay within 3 feet of Han Yang. Young warriors in other cities don't yet know how terrifying Han Yang is, but Han Yang's reputation is known to everyone in Luo City. Killed the elder of the Chen family who was at the 5th level of bone forging. One punch killed Shimen Sheng, the Yuanmen genius who mastered the swords will. 3 punches counterattack the guarding General Yi Bufan, who is at the 6th level of forging bones. All kinds of achievements have made him, the former son-in-law of the Chen family, become a legend in Luo City. At this time, these young warriors who were at the 1st level of bone forging and even in the body tempering stage were naturally as fearful as tigers when facing Han Yang. Is that the team from Luo City over there? It's so unbearable that they were scared away by one person. Xianxia Valley, the 3 Yuanmen elders at the Luo City Examination Center saw this scene, and their impressions of the Luo City warriors were immediately ruined.